Hi, this is PaleoMan52, and as I've been promising folks for quite a while now, I'm going to make another update on the basics of flint knapping. I'm going to show you the tools that I use, and I'm going to use just these tools that you see right here. And that's pretty simple. You know, I have a moose antler billet. You could use a hammerstone if you're good with those. I have a braiding stone. You can see that I've wore a groove right into this. It's just nothing more than a carborundum type block or a grinding wheel, whatever. I have a pressure pad I made using 2 pieces of leather that I sewed together and an antler tine flaker. So we're going to get started here. I've picked out a piece of stone that I want to use, and I'm going to get to that right away. So let me put these tools over here. Get set up, and let's see what we got here. Okay, well, I kind of like the looks of this stone right here. This one is a piece of Keokuk, and it's a beautiful piece of stone. I like the fact that it has the shape already of a large knife blade spear point, and I have a lot of available areas to strike to remove flakes. This has been basically trimmed. There is still cortex you see here. It's pretty rough, where the inside material is kind of waxy and smooth. So first off, what I like to do is to be able to get into the stone. So with this moose antler that I hold just like I would hold a stone, fingers along one side, thumb here, I will chop away at this. And you can see little tiny flakes are coming off. Now, why would I be doing this? Well, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to trim this edge here to get it ready so that I can take some larger flakes. So I turn it over a couple times, and I remove that extreme thinness. Now, why would I want to remove that? Well, when you have a really thin edge, really thin, and you impact it with a piece of moose antler or a hammerstone or even a piece of hardwood, what it would do if the edge is too thin is more than likely crush it and not remove a flake. So now that I've trimmed it, I'm going to take this a braiding stone, and I'm going to kind of just braid or grind off some of that extra thinness that's there. Now you see I could run my finger on there all day and never get cut. Before, I would have definitely received a cut. So let's take a flake and just to see how this stone's going to work and how this antler matches up with it. I'm going to strike a platform right here. You can see that. Now that is going to be ready to receive a hit from this antler. I'm going to come right into it, impact it, and when I do, you notice that it removes a nice flake. Now part of that flake fell off into my pail. Let me grab it, because I want you to see how much travel that energy had. Okay, so we look at this and we see that that flake started here and it ended up over here. So it went right across here at a nice angle. And that is the area of removal. You can see how clean that removed that. No hinges or anything. And actually this little flake here, this one here, might make a nice little arrowhead. Or a cutting tool. Say you're doing a leather project and you want to cut leather. This works very well because the edges are pretty much razor sharp. So I'll save that. So let me get started here. I want to get this cortex off here. So what I'm going to do is, let me move the camera down a little bit more. I'm going to trim this edge, okay, like this. You notice I'm just shearing flakes off, snapping them off. I'm not trying to drive them in, I'm trying to just shear them off. Because what I'm doing is I'm producing a beveled edge right here. That beveled edge, when I turn it over, will make a nice, long, continuous platform. Take a look at it. It looks pretty good. How well the camera sees that. but we'll see how it worked out. Again, I like to grind downward and then across. Now, if I beveled this enough and ground this enough, and one thing you want to remember is never over grind, because what happens when you over grind is the edge is so strong that when you hit it, you'll break the edge out. You won't push a flake across the surface. So let's try a couple flakes here. I'm going to try one right on the very end because I like this long straight area. Let's see if we can take that off. Okay. Okay. Now, as I wanted to remove this area here, and notice the flake did that. It went from here all the way to here. It didn't take a lot of energy. Again, another really super nice cutting blade right here. We'll save that. Okay, that's encouraging. And as you're chipping along, you'll notice there are a lot of micro blades that will come off. Let's try one here. Okay, now I struck this one right on the side, and I wanted to push it up over this hump that you see here, and that's pretty much what it did. Pushed it right up over. Okay, we'll do a little more trimming and continue our way down this piece, removing cortex, outer cortex. Once again, flake comes off, cortex is gone. Now notice when I'm tapping away like this, if the flake doesn't come off right away, I change the angle. I always try to keep the same swing angle, but change the angle that I hold the piece, and that will allow the piece to release the flake better. You notice that I tip it around quite a bit. So what have we accomplished? Alrighty, well, before the cortex went all the way to here, and now we're back to here. Now before I take any more of that, I would like to do a little more thinning in this area here. So let's trim this. Notice that I do chop away and trim and set that edge up to bevel it, like you see here. Now for those of you that are just getting started, this is probably quite confusing. And I understand that thoroughly because even though I've been napping 35 years now, I can remember the days when I had no clue what to do or how to remove a flake. So I'm just taking a few more here because I want to get up into this mass here. So hopefully what you see me doing here will help you to be able to achieve the goals you've set for yourself. Alright, let's pop one here. This is kind of a really irregular area. Not sure exactly how that's going to come out. I'm hoping that it'll jump right into there. It did. Took that flake there, went all the way to there. There's one next to it. Oh, that's a good platform. So I was able to hit that a little harder. When I hit it before and it kind of glanced off, I wasn't giving it enough impact. And this material is being a little bit forgiving and allowed me to hit it a couple times without hinging it or causing cones to form inside. Okay, moving along here. So, I'm trying to work my way into the heaviest, most massive part of this here. And we're doing pretty good. Might take a little more up here, the thinning area here. Let's see what happens. Now notice how I hold my hand underneath here. It's supported from one end to the other. Right where I'm going to strike it, I keep my finger right under there. Now you will get cut from time to time if a flake comes off bad and it'll cut your finger. So you have to be careful. But the support is important. If I was to dangle this out here and hit this, this tip would just fall right off. I'm sure you had that happen if you've done any flint napping at all. So by supporting it, I'm able to hit it pretty hard and to remove a flake like that. So now we see thinning has taken place down through here, right here and here, and I'm going to try to get something here. Now to do that, I have to set that up a little more. If you notice, there's a little bit of an obstacle here. If I hit this and I happen to glance and hit that, it will stall the energy and cause a breakout, or it might cause a hinge. So let me see if I can trim some of that off there. Good solid area. Okay, I feel a little better about that. Got a little bit out of the way. And I'm going to hit it right here. And let's see if we can get a good impact on this. I'm going to really drive it in. Oh boy, good solid platform. And the flake went all the way up to this cortex. Now that flake actually let go and broke apart. Not a bad problem. There is a little tiny hinge there which will come out in further removals here. Okay, let's jump around a little bit. Get away from that tip. I'm going for easy available platforms. What I mean by that are ones that are already kind of hanging out, like you see here. Yeah, that's hanging out there. I can strike that. Easy platform. Trim it a little bit. A little bit of a braiding, and then we'll turn it over and we'll pop this one here. Let's see how this one goes. Very good. Flake went from here to there and it feathered off smoothly. That's what you hope for. Okay, once in a while I take a little heavier flake because I want to thin a little bit more. You see there? A little more grinding. Flake is coming off very nicely. Good material. Material is a big difference. If you have really tough material, then you have to hit it a little bit harder. I'm not having to really strike this too bad. Look at these nice flakes coming off. So I was able to thin there quite a bit. Okay. Now what I noticed as I did that, as this area here has raised up, and it is now ready to go. So let me take a quick break and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I want to maintain this good size. That's kind of the object here. I've got a big piece of stone. It's not super thick. It's got a great shape. So I'm going to try to keep thinning this. And I'm going to keep taking flakes. I'm going to work my way right through this thick, heavy area here. Okay. As I hit this, I'm trying to drive the flaker, or I mean the billet into it, which will push that flake ahead. Okay. You notice that flake from here all the way to here, and that's pretty much a flat surface. So to get those flakes to run into that, you have to have a good prepared edge that doesn't crush, and that one held up very nicely. Okay. Let's take a thinning flake right here. And that one went right up into here. Now that one did kind of feather out and then somewhat pop little hinges, but when I strike here, I should be able to drive a flake across through that. And I also have some areas here to drive into that. So we haven't really set up anything bad yet. Notice I do an awful lot of braiding. I'm going to go for this now. Okay, remember I said it should get right across there? Went right across and removed a lot of that little hinge. There's still a little bit here that I'll come from this side to get. So you come back and forth to get some of these flake removals. Another nice one right here. And notice you're starting to see a pattern of thinning flakes. And that's just what you want to do. Okay. I am jumping around quite a bit on this. Pretty much taking what's available, what I feel I have the best shot at. And every piece is unique, every piece is different. You know, you don't have a textbook that will say you have to follow a certain rules to get this to flake perfectly. At least I don't. And I will jump around randomly. I'm starting to pick up my speed a little bit, because one thing I've noticed is that when you flint knap, you develop somewhat of a rhythm, almost like playing an instrument. Okay, that was a really nice removal there. And I'm working my way down this side to clean it up and remove all the original cortex. Now see what we've got here. We've got some really nice looking flake removals. That one terminated a little there and have a very small hinge, but I'm going to get it from this side by grinding it here. Whoops, almost dropped it. And running a flake from here over. As you see, I just did right there. So this side has been completely flaked. And what we need to do now is take out some of this irregularity here and get this cortex off here eventually. So now I'm going to try to raise up this side a little bit to clean it up and have a better access to the thickness that's up here. You achieve that by raising up the side to get to it. So now I'm going to just trim away. Some flakes to get me up there.